from our Tasmanian headquarters, this is Southern Cross News with Jo Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. New details of an alleged murder on Mount Roland in Tasmania's northwest have been revealed during a coronial inquest in Hobart. Robin Michael was charged with murdering his wife while they were holidaying in the state 3 years ago, but died in custody in 2016.
A family travelling from South Australia to hear the details of the alleged murder of Kerry Michael. An inquest into the death of the 44-year-old today resuming in Hobart with new details of an horrific scene on Mount Roland in February 2015. Robin Michael was charged with her murder but died in April 2016 while on remand at Risdon Prison. Senior Detective Sergeant Paul Bryan today telling the inquest about an interview with Mr Michael a day after the alleged murder. Found unconscious at the East Devonport Caravan Park where the pair had been holidaying, overdosed on insulin. During the interview, Detective Sergeant Bryan told the coroner Mr Michael described a furious rage amid accusations Mrs Michael was having an affair. Telling police, "I was annoyed she didn't want to talk about it and I went nuts. I was just trying to hit her. I hit her in the head with a rock. We just wrestled. I hit her 3 or 4 times, I suspect. I just lost it." The inquest hearing, Mr Michael left his wife on the mountain to explain his actions on Facebook and leave a will for his sons. The state forensic pathologist revealing fatal injuries suffered by Mrs Michael, a post-mortem showing significant injuries to the back of her head, described as substantial. Dr Christopher Lawrence telling the court the head injuries were rapidly fatal, killing Mrs Michael in minutes, not hours. Questioned by the coroner if she could have survived, Dr Lawrence replied no. 3 large rocks were taken by forensics to examine with bloodstains linked to Mrs Michael, blood discovered across 18 metres of track. During the inquest, Mr Michael was described as a jealous and controlling man. The counsel assisting the coroner requesting he be found to have caused his wife's death. The coroner to hand down the official findings next month. JACQUELIN, ROBSON, Southern Cross News.
The family of a murdered Tasmanian man call for answers, in hoping an inquest into his death will bring those. Brett Williams was repeatedly stabbed at a home in Eggs and Bacon Bay near Cygnet in 2011. Stewart Barry Russell is serving 22 years for the murder, with a recent appeal to his conviction dismissed by the Supreme Court. Mr Williams' son says further charges need to be laid to give the family closure. The inquest was adjourned for a later date. A vintage train carriage is almost ready to return to service. With a few final touches, volunteers at the Don River Railway say the carriage will look and feel just how it did when it ruled the railways nearly a century ago.
Within this bold green shell is a trove of Tasmanian history. This is how passengers travelled by train from the 1920s to the 1960s. And it's all been restored the old way.
Proud. One word, proud.
The long abandoned carriage was taken in by the Don River Railway 3 years ago. The volunteer group has recently installed new upholstery in its original colour. The old luggage racks are in place above the seats. There's even a warning to fare dodgers from the time.
Penalty, £5.
Modern day shortcuts are kept to a minimum. Only a labour intensive French polish will do for the interior.
It adds the colour to the wood as well, which come from the flakes. So that's the way it was done in the past and that's the way we've done it this time.
While the green exterior had to be just right.
We've tried to match it as best we can with the original colour, and I think we're on version number 7 now.
Passengers will be able to buy a fare on the old carriage when it returns to the northwest in 2 months' time.
To think what it was when it came up here, an absolute wreck, to what it is now, to a functioning carriage when it gets back to Don, and we have a similar one made by the same company down there. So 2 of them together will look wonderful.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's oyster industry is counting the cost of devastating outbreaks of disease. Biosecurity authorities have confirmed the detection of Pacific oyster mortality syndrome near Cygnet last month, which caused significant stock losses. Growers are sweating with warmer weather linked to outbreaks.
There is still the risk of those water temperatures bumping up in the next couple of weeks and causing more pain. But we're sort of hopeful that we can get through without another major event, especially seeing as though Easter's only a couple of weeks away.
Despite outbreaks of POMs in Tasmania, commercial oysters remain safe to eat. An 11-year-old affected by paraplegia has set off on an ambitious journey across the Three Capes track. Joined by 22 volunteers, Sam King is using the trek to raise money for Variety Tasmania, an organisation that's helped him and his family.
Saddling up for the epic ride ahead, a team of 22 donning packs for a charity walk across the rugged coastline of the Tasman Peninsula.
It's feeling pretty good for now.
Are you ready to carry this for the next few days?
Yeah, it'll be awesome. We'll do anything we can to help Sam get on this track and achieve his dreams.
Sam can, you can!
11-year-old Sam King is affected by paraplegia, but that doesn't slow him down. The mission for the next 3 days, the Three Capes track.
We got a special pack for Sam, which is very comfortable, and that will be divvied across 8 of the guys who will carry him. He's about 28 kilos, so it'll be a challenge for them.
What were you eating last night?
Sausages and mash.
And how does that feel for you?
That's all good. He's quite light. He's quite manageable.
The trek is raising funds for Variety Tasmania, a cause close to the family's heart.
It means everything because we've been helped a lot by Variety in the past, and that meant a great deal to us, and the fact that we're giving Sam this opportunity but offering out a benefit to other kids in need across Tasmania, it means a lot.
Look, the team behind Sam Can You Can circled a figure of $20,000. They're well on the way to raising it, and that money will go directly into the grants program to help more Tassie kids just like Sam.
As they set off today, ahead of them is a 46-kilometre track of undulating and spectacular coastline.
Oh, I'm incredibly proud of him. I mean, he's amazing. He's a bit of a go-getter kind of a kid. You know, he wants to do what other people are doing, and I think this opportunity lets him do that.
Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
And now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to TasPlan, your local super fund. The share market has closed lower after investors' confidence was dented by US President Donald Trump's sacking of his Secretary of State. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 39.4 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 79 US cents and 63.44 euro cents.
Welcome back. Half centuries from Jake Doran and Jordan Silk have seen the Tigers off to a solid start in their Sheffield Shield clash with Victoria. Matthew Wade was dismissed on 49 a short time ago, with the home side 7 for 304 at stumps. Doolan and Silk looked sharp early, but hopes of a big opening partnership were quickly dashed.
Big shout there from the Victorians, and he's given.
Silk keeping the momentum in the home side's favour as he and Bo Webster settled in for the morning session. The pair grinding away at the Bushrangers' attack until the visitors struck back after lunch.
Good catch there. And he'll be on his way. He took that one low down.
As he's done all season, Silk held firm at the crease to get the Tigers' total into triple figures.
And that brings up a 50. A gritty 50 there from Jordan Silk.
But the visitors soon had the danger man trapped.
Big shout from the Vics, and they like it, and it's given.
The Tigers skipper set about picking up the pieces as Doran eventually found his feet.
Follows it up with an excellent shot, rocking back on the leg side.
Doran notching up his half-ton in style after the tea break before Bailey became the next casualty of the day, with Doran's run coming to an end in the very next over. In need of a late afternoon lift, Malenko and Wade provided.
Cracking shot there by Matt Wade. Oh, wow.
The pair edging the Tigers' total closer to 300 before Malenko departed on 37, with a costly fumble from the visitors, then gifting Wade a crucial lifeline on 44 before stumps. Tasmanian Rebecca Van Ash has claimed a silver medal in the singles at the Bowls World Cup. Today's final going to a decider when Van Ash and Guernsey's Lucy Beer were locked at 1 set each, but Beer claimed 3 ends needed in the decider to win gold. Van Ash will now turn her attention to next month's Commonwealth Games. More than a dozen schools from the state south are racing for bragging rights today as the Hobart Aquatic Centre hosted the Tasmanian Independent Schools Championships, with students battling it out for school and individual shields over an action-packed day in the water. The event is a prelude to the statewide carnival on March 27, with 600 students set to compete, with former winners including Australian record holder and Commonwealth Games hopeful Ariane Titmus. Finally in sport, Tasmania has caused an upset in the National Under-18 Hockey Championship, downing New South Wales 3-2. Josh Brooks and Ben East once again delivering on the scoreboard.
New South Wales threw everything at the Tasmanians in the final minutes of today's game. The home side's 3-2 lead threatened to derail when a penalty in the dying minutes handed the visitors a chance to level the scores. But solid defence averted disaster, notwithstanding a bit of friendly fire. As the seconds wound down, relief set in, Tasmania jumping to second in its pool after today's win, ahead of tomorrow's derby against Victoria.
Yesterday was the first game, so we all had the nerves, but today we came out, just played what we did, do what we did well.
The girls' side had another tough loss, New South Wales dominating possession in its 3-0 victory. Despite this, Tassie kept searching for the goal line right up until the final play. One last crack before the buzzer was knocked above its target.
We've got a pretty hard game against Queensland tomorrow, but yeah, we're trying to keep on top of it.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. Hobart 21 today, Launceston up to 23 degrees, Burnie 22 and Devonport 20. It's partly cloudy around the state this morning. Bit of cloud continued over the west as the day progressed. Temperatures were all near average. Campania and St Helens 23, Friendly Beaches 22, Smithton, Grove and Ouse all 21, Low Head and Flinders Island 20, King Island, Lyre, Weenie and Strawn all 19 degrees. And that cloud we mentioned just moved in over the west today. The early cloud elsewhere across the state tended to drift off in the afternoon. Further north though, there is extensive cloud over the oceans to the south of the mainland, low-level convective cloud over the east coast and the tropical low is generating cloud over the Tasman Sea. The rest of the nation not troubled too much by cloud cover. Here's a look at tomorrow's chart. A cold front moves to our southwest. A high over the Bight extends a ridge over South Australia. Surface troughs are abundant over the mainland. Ex-tropical cyclone Linda is off Brisbane. We will have west to southwesterly winds to kick it off tomorrow at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over southern waters. And as that front touches our west coast, they should turn more southwest to southerly at 10 to 20 knots, swells to 4 metres in the south. And a strong wind warning, that's for waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point. Into tomorrow we go, 13 overnight for Hobart, a top of 19 tomorrow, 17 the high for Cygnet, 19 for New Norfolk. You may notice the chance of rain for your region as we go through these forecasts. Cloudy for Launceston, the 30% chance of rain though, and 24 degrees, 21 the top for Devonport, Campbelltown cloudy too and 21. For Burnie, partly cloudy and 20, 17 the top for Strawn, Smithton, a possible shower and 20 degrees. And for the east, showers increasing for St Helens. Good news for the east coasters needing rain, 21 degrees, 21 for Swansea, a late shower for Fingal and 23 degrees. There's the UV alert and it's 6 for Hobart and 7s for the rest of the state. On Friday, showers over the central and north and then later over the west and east in the afternoon. Temperatures lucky to reach 20. On Saturday, light rain to start us off, gradually clearing with light northerly winds, 28 degrees for Hobart. And temperatures in the low to mid-20s on Sunday. A few showers across most districts. Good to see some wet weather over the east, as I mentioned. Should still have some of that right through until Tuesday. Further north, some cloud over Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne. Sunny weather for Canberra and Sydney. Maybe an early shower for Brisbane and a storm on the cards for Darwin. And here are the current conditions. It's partly cloudy right across the state at the moment with the temperatures holding up. Jo, back to you.
Lovely. Thanks for that, Murph. That's all from the team. Good night.